Welcome, dear listeners. Are you ready to delve into the darkness once again? From inexplicable paranormal encounters to unsettling mysteries that remain unsolved, we've heard it all in our past 2 seasons, haven't we? But rest assured, the chills are far from over. In fact, we're just beginning to scratch the surface of the unknown. In Season 3, we've gathered a bone-chilling collection of tales that will test the boundaries of your imagination and question the reality you think you know. So, as we take this next step into the shadows together, I want to extend a warm thank you to our loyal listeners who have journeyed with us so far, and a hearty welcome to the newcomers who have just stumbled upon our dark little corner of the internet. Remember, there's no turning back now. Once you've peered into the darkness, it peeks back at you. So, turn down the lights, put on your headphones, and let the stories unfold. And, of course, remember to breathe, it can get rather unnerving. Welcome to Season 3. He didn't think it was funny, but the look on his face was priceless. Not that I cared what he or anyone else thought of me for that matter. Making friends wasn't really a priority, given that I was on survival mode 24/7. The crazy thing is, I did feel like I wasn't alone anymore. There was an overwhelming sense of peace that had suddenly flooded me, and at the very back of my mind there was a reassuring voice that I couldn't quite hear but still understood. The beast fed off of my hatred and rage, deepening my thirst for revenge. At times, I thought perhaps I was losing it, but would that really be so terrible? I would have welcomed living a muddled reality where I had the upper hand. For 2 weeks, my husband even kept his hands off of me. He avoided me at all costs instead of berating me for every little thing. He slept away instead of bringing girls to the house. The bruises on my body were healing, turning a soft yellow and red against my pale skin. Things seemed to be okay, for once. That was, until the night one of his many skanks fed him some new drug, an amphetamine of sorts, and he came home cross-eyed and drooling like an animal. It was the middle of the night when he barged into our room, bellowing some nonsense that my barely awake mind couldn't comprehend. At the moment, I thought it more annoying than frightening. I got up and tried to coax him into calming down, to get into the bed and get some sleep, but he wouldn't listen. He swung his big, beefy arms as I tried to reach for him, smacking me across the face in the process. His pupils were wide and dark, swallowing his irises in a vortex of nothingness. His breath alone could light a raging fire with a single spark. If only I had thought to get a lighter or a box of matches. What a more poetic way to go than by the cleansing flame. For the first time in all our time together, I thought enough. In a blind act of bravery, I shoved him and he lost his balance, falling onto the mirror that hung on the door and shattering it. When his mind registered what I had just done, he looked at me with an animalistic rage. He didn't even seem to notice his arm was bleeding, full of tiny cuts. We were both tense, our bodies coiled like springs about to snap. I felt powerful in that moment, but it was a feeling that quickly died down. He was the first to move, and he was so fast I was barely able to react. From 1 second to the next, he was holding a shard of glass and advancing on me. Once more, he had all control over me, snatching all that power I felt for even a fraction of a second. He swung wildly, screaming "I'm going to kill you," all while I scurried back quickly, barely out of reach of the shard. In my haste, I tripped over a pillow and fell backwards for what felt like an eternity. Time slowed down, until suddenly there was a sickening crack at the back of my skull. Then there was only darkness. I had been snuffed out from existence in an instant, quietly, without so much as a gasp. Or so I thought. I wasn't sure how long I was passed out for, but I woke up to a squelch and the acrid, coppery smell of blood. My vision swam, and I lied there on the floor as I tried to blink away the splitting headache. A movement on the bed caught my eye, and I stared hard, trying to make out what I was seeing. A long, thin arm sliced through the air, sharpening into a right angle as a bloody hand gripped the lower edge of the bed frame. My eyes followed the pale flesh and I saw a flash of pink-stained teeth, long and thin as fingers. On the walls, large crimson Rorschach stains. The image was so familiar that I thought for a moment I was in a dream again, though a more vivid one. The pain grounded me, as did the memory of what had caused me to pass out. Breathing mechanically, I found some strength within me and slowly sat up. There was more blood under me and the back of my head felt slick and warm. I placed a hand down to keep myself upright, but instead of feeling the wooden floor, there was something tough and sinewy. The bed creaked and I looked up, my mind unable to process what was in front of me. The creature from my dreams smiled, which looked weird given its elongated mouth. It was covered in blood and gore, but seemed intact. It had my husband pinned underneath its body, one long hand pressed against his chest. He was unconscious, bruised and battered, with a couple bites here and there. Beside the creature, something long uncoiled off the side of the bed and snaked on the floor, underneath my hand and still going. It was a sickening white, pale blue and purple in color. One end seemed to be connected to the creature's stomach, while the other. Instinctively, I reached a hand up towards the back of my head, where the edge of my nightstand hit my skull. The other end was firmly attached to the nape of my neck, going into a small, fleshy crater that should have been my demise. That's when it hit me. An umbilical cord. The creature had freed itself from the dark womb of my unconscious mind, out into reality. My dreams were the gestation, every night the creature growing stronger. I nourished it, fed it and even came to love it. I was a mother, despite what I had been told. I was not broken, or useless or any of the things my husband called me. I was the one in control of my life and my body. I moved, and the creature followed. I raised a hand, and it did the same. It mirrored me, like a child learning a parent's mannerisms, despite the fact that it had no eyes to see me. Love is blind, or so they say. I knew this creature would do anything for me, and I for it. The creature helped me up and steadied me on my feet. Underneath, my husband groaned a little, yet remained unconscious. Both of us looked down at my husband's prone body, detached. The hindrance that stood between us and the life we wanted. Oh, how glorious it would be. Now that we had each other, the next step was to get rid of the obstacle. Hours later, there was no more of Frank. At least, nothing discernible. We reenacted so many of those violent fantasies, but as much as I wanted to hear him scream, we couldn't alert the neighbors. His vocal cords were severed first, but the look of abject, mute horror and agony on his face was worth it. We left before morning came, catching a brand new day to start a new life. We needed sustenance for the road, so we ate and we drank as much as we could. By the time they found his bones, they would be bleached by the sun, poised on the bed pathetically, if not a little melancholic. I made sure no one would come looking for a while. It was a fair trade, after all, one man's nightmare being a woman's dream. It's what I deserved. Alright, my friends, we've reached the end of yet another eerie journey, through the shadows of Reddit's most chilling tales. I sincerely hope you found these stories as riveting and spine-chilling as I did. The world is full of mysteries, isn't it? Remember, if you've enjoyed today's exploration into the unknown, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the podcast with your friends who also love a good scare. It's always more fun to explore the shadows together. A big heartfelt thank you to all of our subscribers, listeners and patrons out there. Your support is invaluable, it keeps the lights on here, and more importantly, keeps us delving into the eerie corners of the internet to bring you the best scary stories out there. If you've encountered any creepy occurrences or have your own chilling stories to share, don't hesitate to reach out to us via subreddit chronicles@gmail.com. We always love hearing from you, and who knows, your story might just feature in one of our future episodes. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your hearts brave, and your lights on. After all, you never know what's lurking in the shadows. This is your host, signing off. Stay safe and keep exploring the unexplored.